Hey, Dr. Mark, this is the second video I want to go through today, and I want to talk to you about something really exciting because in order to fix any condition, you have to fix the cell of the body. We have over about 80 trillion cells, and each cell has a job to do. And so I want to give you kind of the basics of what's really important and then talk about the 5 R's, how we can actually get these cells working better and have you feel better. So when we look at the cell here, first thing we have to look at is what we call the cell membrane up here. So the cell membrane is made up of a double fat layer. You can see the black part along with the red area here. That it means there's a double fat layer to it. And it allows things to go in and out through the actual cell itself. So the goal is to have nutrition. And when I mean nutrition, I mean anything that the cell needs. It could be water, could be vitamins, minerals, hormones, you name it, enzymes. They have to go from here and get inside the cell. Just like you have to get gasoline into your car motor. Doesn't do you any good to have it sitting out in the gas tank and have a full tank if it doesn't get in the motor. And the second thing that we have to do to be healthy is we have to get the waste products or toxins out of the cell. We've got to get it out of it or it causes the cell to age and get all clogged up, just like not changing the oil in your car. Get all clogged up, right? Okay, so now there's a couple of things besides the cell membrane that are really important that I'm going to talk about. Number one, we have to have energy in our cell. Everybody complains the number one concern is that, hey, I don't have enough energy. I'm tired all the time. Well, it's because you have 1,000 little power plants called mitochondria. Each one of those is designed to do what? Give you more energy. And they need this rocket fuel in order to work. They need to get toxins out in order for them to work. And guess what? They have a double cell membrane on here too, made up of fat, made out of cholesterol. Okay? Same thing inside here. We have what we call our genes. And our genes are our ability to have this cell do what it was meant to do. So if we have a heart cell, that gene is designed to make that heart work better. Or a kidney, or a muscle cell, or a brain cell. And these genes are passed on, the genetics, from generation to generation. It's how we get a color of our hair and our body types and our looks and everything else are passed on through the genes. Now, back when I started college back in many years ago, over 36 years ago, we were told that whatever genes you got, that's it. You're stuck with them. Now we know that the genes can be altered and changed, their function. The genes themselves stay the same, but their function can be improved or can get worse through what we call epigenetics. And so that's why this genes and cell membrane in here is very important also. Now, how does nutrition get in and toxins get out? They go through what we call receptor sites or doorways. So this is really important for you to understand. Each receptor site, there's probably 20,000 to 100,000 of them on each cell, are shaped differently. And so different nutrition and hormones and everything else go into these cells just like you would stick your key into your car. Your key fits in there and it turns on. It comes from the bloodstream in here, goes into the cell, and it can charge up the mitochondria or make the genes work better or whatever that cell needs to function. But they have to go through this cell membrane. Now, oftentimes what happens is we have toxic chemicals. And we're going to talk a lot more about that in another video, but toxic chemicals can mimic our nutrition, and these toxins can actually block these doorways, these receptor sites, just like putting a lock on your car door. You can't get in, right? You got to have the key to get into your car then. Well, same thing with these cells. So we're going to talk some more about that. So now the next thing I want to talk to you about is what we call the 5 R's. And this is really important because this is how we fix the cell. Fix the cell, you fix the condition. The body is allowed to heal itself and get better. Now, the 5 R's to true cellular health are this. Number one, you have to remove the source. So in other words, you can't keep putting all the junk in your body and on your body and expect it to change. All right? So in other words, if we're eating all kinds of things like with sugar in it and junk food and chemicals and GMOs and toxic chemicals and getting heavy metals into our body and that type of thing through our toothpaste, through our fillings, all these kinds of things can affect it. We're going to have an increased source. Even women's makeup has over 500 toxic chemicals in it, and they put it on their bodies every day and absorb it. So this accumulates, and that's some of the things that block the receptor sites or doorways I talked about just a minute ago. Second thing is we got to regenerate the cell membrane. Because the cell membrane is made out of fat, what do you think we have to use to make that cell membrane softer and more pliable? Well, we have to use good fat. And so we'll talk some more about what kinds of fats are good fats and what kind of fats are not so good, that are going to cause the cell membrane to get hard and stiff, making you and your joints hard and stiff and not be able to be flexible anymore. Makes you feel old. Next thing here is we got to do cellular energy. Those mitochondria need specific fuel. So we've got to regenerate the cell membrane for that and put the right nutrients into that motor so that the motor can run really well, have all kinds of energy like you did when you were a kid. The next thing is reduce inflammation. According to Time magazine, the #1 cause of cancer, heart disease, and diabetes is what? Inflammation, stress to the cell. And so inflammation comes in a lot of different forms. It can come from really poor diet. It can come from lack of exercise. It can come from negative thoughts. It can come from issues where we actually go in and take a lot of medications all day long that have side effects and cause inflammation. So we've got to downregulate the inflammation at the cellular level if we want that cell to get better. And we know how to do that now. And the next thing we have to do is reestablish what we call methylation. Methylation has a lot to do with inflammation in genes. Remember, we want to turn on the good genes and shut off the bad genes. That's the key to longevity and a long, healthy life. And we know that methylation in the body has got article after article now showing that that's one of the major things that can cause those genes, those good genes, to turn back on. So methylation is very important. So now you understand about the 5 R's. When you fix these things, guess what? Your body's going to start to get better. You're going to start to feel better. And instead of treating the symptoms, we're going to be treating the cause. And that's going to allow your body to actually finally improve and get better again. God bless. We'll see you in the next video.